And we are live! Hey, everybody! Welcome to episode 14. We've done 14 of these. That's like 2 weeks worth of Trans Talks episodes. So this is episode 14 of Trans Talks. I'm excited to bring another wonderful guest. They are an actor, a voice actor, a playwright, a singer-songwriter, so many things.
So many things.
You'll tell us. Please welcome Socks Whitmore. How are you doing?
I am hanging in there, Sammie. Thank you for the introduction. I know I have a lot of words, so I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, so first thing I ask on this show is I pushed a button, so my screen just like I went full screen on my end, so it just threw me off a little bit. But whatever, this is great. You take up more of my screen. Not going to complain about that. So first thing I ask on this is for you to introduce yourself a little bit more. I specifically ask, what are your pronouns, even though we can clearly see them in two places. But maybe people can't. Not everyone can see.
Fair enough.
And so what are your pronouns and what words do you use for yourself? That can be identity-wise and anything else. But whatever you want to tell people other than those two things, go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Socks Whitmore. Yes, like the things on your feet. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. And I am a singer, a stage and voice actor, a lyricist, composer, and a writer of any medium that gets the job done. I also use, for my identity words, I love labels personally to like help describe and articulate because I'm such a words person. So my identity words are demi-pan-romantic, asexual, agender/gender non-conforming, non-binary in a pinch.
All right, awesome. And this is my favorite question to ask people. I like starting with this after intros, and it's not just for trans people, but I think we need to get asked this more often. Specifically, what gives you gender euphoria?
Yes. I am definitely still exploring gender presentation for myself. I think there's a lot of questions I have yet to ask and answer. But I recently actually have gotten to have the opportunity to wear suits and suit jackets. And that has just been so incredible. I adore the way that I look in those. I love the way it feels to wear them. And I am a little bitter that I was not offered the opportunity sooner. I'm also really into the way that it feels to wear, I currently wear a binder because I haven't had my gender affirming top surgery yet, though pursuing it. So right now I wear a chest binder, and I really like the flat look I get when I wear one of those with just like a thick strap tank top over it. It feels really freeing to wear things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have this tie. I actually enjoy the long ties. I know that it's very much a queer thing to have like bow ties, and
I'm with you.
For other people, but I haven't really gotten into them for myself. I actually like the traditional around your neck long ties, and I have this one that is trans flag colors, definitely unintentionally, but it's pink and white and blue, and I got to wear it with a suit, and it was a look.
Yep. I told you this off camera. I had inadvertent trans pride color socks. They were just like, and it was like they started at the top with like the bi flag colors. It was like different shades of purple, and then it goes down to like pink, white, and blue. I'm just like, oh, this is not on purpose. This because they were like in a pack of 4. I'm just like, the other ones are not pride cup. The other ones have like animals on them. It's just like, wait, what are you trying to say, Socks?
Accidental representation. Our favorite kind, definitely. Other things that are like beyond clothing, as someone who performs, it's really exciting for me to play roles that are not cis femme roles, whether that's little boys or actually canonically non-binary characters. It's affirming to be given a chance to perform those roles.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite role that you've gotten to play so far? I know it can be hard to pick favorites, but like just one that sticks that just jumps into your mind right now.
Well, I will never miss an opportunity to plug my role as Narwhal of Penguin Random House's Narwhal and Jelly audiobook series. That role was actually, they reached out to me to audition for it. Like, they found my reels and asked me to audition. And it turns out that Narwhal is canonically gender fluid. And there's this bit in the third book where Narwhal decides to change their name to Peanut Butter. And then their friend Jelly is saying, like, you can't do that. You can't just change your name. And then Narwhal is rattling off a list like, oh, yeah, before I was called Narwhal, I was called this and this and this. And just, like, has gone through these cycles of names. So wholesome.
Yeah, that's
so much joy. And Narwhal is just a joyful, wholesome character.
Yeah, and I don't like. I was going to ask you to talk about Narwhal and Jelly. No, yep. As we all know, trans people can read each other's minds.
It's true.
Yeah.
Book 6 just came out, so now there are 6 of them, and you can get them on Penguin Random House's website or most places where you can get audiobooks.
Cool.
And they're adorable, and I highly recommend.
Yeah, awesome. So related question, is there a role? It can be if there's a specific role that comes to mind, that's great. But is there a dream like type of role, something that you haven't gotten to explore in your career that you think would be pretty cool, that you'd like the opportunity for?
It's a good question. I, as someone who writes roles and who creates original content, have found that the most fulfilling roles I've ever played, I've often played a hand in writing them. I think right now not enough roles exist for me to play that are the type of roles I want to see. I mean, just generally write more non-binary characters, friends. Just make more. I think that Steven Universe I point to a lot as sort of hallmark of the kind of art I want to reach to if I make it big. That's the kind of thing I would love to work on, where it's just overtly queer and it's wholesome and it's musical. I think Stevani is a wonderful character, so I think playing a role like Stevani from Steven Universe could be really exciting. I have my reasons for being very attracted to roles that have a lot of inner turmoil, just in general. Being trans and having trauma. But I find that performing for me is a way to access things that I feel, and when I enter a really consent-based space where we're like entering these roles with the knowledge, like acknowledging those things and not setting boundaries and not crossing them or asking for things unduly. I think there's some really exciting stuff that can happen internally working roles like that. Yeah.
So with your voice acting, I think I might be mistaken, but have you done a few podcasts?
What? What? As a matter of fact, I have. I've done several, one might say. Yeah, I've worked on a number of audio dramas at this point, and in some of them I have gotten to play non-binary roles. There's some really great indie creators out there writing fiction podcasts that are making these roles, and I'm so excited to be meeting them and working with them. Oh, what can I talk about that's released? I worked on Life with Leo by Lauren Shippen, who was really cool to work with.
Awesome.
And I worked in looping with that. So for people who don't know, looping is the background acting of the voiceover world, where you're creating the background characters, the people who are like filling your coffee shops and people with 2 lines on the street, that kind of thing. So I got to do some looping for Life with Leo, which was really cool. I got to play in the Sheridan tapes. I got to play a non-binary possessed human. Someone who was being possessed by a demon of some sort, who was also talking in this very like therapist analytical way. So I was like a possessed non-binary therapist, which was so good. So good. Peak booking. It doesn't get better.
Yeah.
And of course, I play Georgie in Georgie Romero is Done For. So that is the lead titular role of that show, where I'm playing this lesbian zombie who wakes up with no memory of who she was as a living person, and so sets out on a quest to figure it out. And season 2 is in production as I speak, and it's going to be good, folks.
Season 1's fantastic. Check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, and then it does have a sibling show called The Soft Boiled Detective that's written by the same human, and I am playing a non-binary attorney in that one with an adorable wife, and I'm so excited.
Awesome. So, and like, here's a question, and maybe you don't have an exact answer, because I'm putting you on the spot. But what tips do you have for, I mean, anyone, but specifically trans folks who are trying to get into voice acting?
Tips. Oh, I have many tips for breaking into voice acting in general, but I think it is especially difficult for trans people because of how binary this space is. There's still so much work being done to break down the inherent binariness in voice acting. I definitely recommend finding your queer voiceover communities, of which there are so many. Yep. There really are. I was involved in the Queer Vox workshop, the inaugural workshop of this new organization called Queer Vox, back in January, February or so of 2021. And I got to meet some really incredible trans voice actors in that space. And now there's this massive Discord you can join, and people in there are having conversations about everything from how to set up your home studio to which classes are the best to take, and have people who are really good at working with trans people. Yeah. They have office hours all the time where you can speak to these working professionals who are spearheading the effort. So I definitely recommend getting in touch with Queer Vox. They have a mailing list, Discord you can join, follow them on socials. There's a lot to be said about making a reel and getting your portfolio together as a voice actor, just regardless of what your identity is. There's so much nuance to that space. But I think it's really great as a trans voice actor to take the time to develop a reel with the roles that you really want to play, that are in your wheelhouse, that you maybe haven't booked yet. It can be hard to book things that you've never played before. So if, for instance, I like to play little boys, but it took a while for me to get my first one because I often play children. On the other side, I often play little girls. And so it took some time, but now I have some little boy samples, and it's much easier to prove to people that I can play that role.
Yeah.
So make a list of the roles that you want to play, that you think you can do vocally, and work with someone. If you don't write yourself, write your own material or work with someone who does it. There are so many indie people you can hire to help you out. and get that content, get that reel together, and submit yourself for that stuff.
Yeah. I asked that for completely unselfish reasons, and I'm not slightly involved in voiceover at all. So, here's something to ask about. You just signed with Transgender Talent.
You are correct.
Tell the folks about that.
Yeah, so Transgender Talent is, they manage me. They are my manager, which is different from agent. Agent and manager are two different things, in case there are folks who are, it's complicated. If you're confused, I don't blame you. So a manager is like a steward of your career who helps get your portfolio together, get your package ready so that people who want to hire you can see instantly how good you are at what you do. They help connect you to places. And for my particular situation, Transgender Talent has a production wing of its company. So it's also creating content that I can participate in and use in my reels. And I'm just getting experience and getting myself out there by being on this roster. Ann Thomas is the name of the person who directly manages me. She is a wonderful trans woman who I'm so grateful to be in her network now. And just earlier this month, we shot some music videos for the production wing, and I got to meet like 60 trans people who are also on the roster. They represent people from Southern California primarily, but also from across the states. People flew in from Texas and Florida and all over. And we are making trans things in affirming spaces, and it's so wonderful.
That's great. So this question, I ask this of everyone. Who are some trans folks you think are doing great work right now?
The people I'm Facebook friends with.
It's a hard question because there's so many of us.
There's so many trans people who are doing amazing things. But on the flip side, there are so few large-scale, visible trans people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know so many people who are right where we are right now. You and I and the people we're Facebook friends with and who follow each other on Instagram, but we're not like verified or anything. And we're all doing incredible things and paving the way. Mika Kaufman, I think, is an amazing human. I know you spoke. I know. I know. We all know each other. It's just a fact. All trans people know each other. Preston Max Allen. Donnie, whose last name I know I'm going to butcher. I'm not even going to try it.
Future guest on this show. It's like...
all these people. Sis. You know, all these people who are in our network already.
Yeah.
I do have a hard time pointing to large scale, like people who are really working on that visible level. I know that Rebecca Sugar describes herself as a non-binary woman, and I think that creator of Steven Universe, the thing that I point to all of the time, incredible stuff happening there. Trans people are so cool.
Yeah.
We should pay them more.
Yeah, I mean, the question is basically, who are some people who will definitely be on this show in the future if we can get them?
I met some really neat people from my manager's roster the other day. Zoe Luna, I got to meet. She has such energy. She's this incredible young person who is such a joy to work with. And Emmett Preciado, who's on Good Trouble. And then Zoe's on, it's like a show about witches, and I know I'm going to remember the name later and be sad that I couldn't plug it for her. She's also in the Dear Evan Hansen movie. But yeah, Zoe Luna and Emmett Preciado are more visible actors who I'm really grateful to have met and worked with. Yeah, and Josephine Kearns and Delia Kropp from Trans Actors Guild, really helping organize our spaces and help provide resources to up and coming trans artists. I'm so grateful for them. Like I said, My friends.
Yep. Yeah. So, here's the question. I gotta ask it every week. We all have an answer. What cis nonsense are you sick of?
Well, let me tell you. Okay. I'm going to start with something that happened to me this week.
Okay.
I recently booked something where I am playing a non-binary protagonist role. This is the lead role, and it's a non-binary role with a non-binary love interest. So excited to book this, and I was invited to audition and booked it, and I was all ready to be like, this is going to be such an affirming space. So ready. And then the first day I showed up on set, the AD says, so don't be offended or anything, but this non-binary stuff is really new. So like, just don't get mad at us if we don't do it, like if we get it wrong. And then everyone proceeds to misgender me all day, except for the person who hired me. I think that if you are working with trans people in your project, this was a trans role. It was written into the project from the beginning. You have to make sure other people on the set are not going to do what happened.
Yeah.
You have to do that work. If you're the lead project, because cis nonsense bullet point, don't make trans people do the work. Protect trans people all of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially since you hired me, it's not my job to like have to advocate for myself on top of performing. That actually detracts from me doing the job that you hired me to do. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I'm not gonna name the project because literally everyone else involved with this was fantastic and like doing the work. But I was involved with a project recently where the star was like very complimentary of my work, but also constantly misgendering me.
Oh
no! I'm just like, this is like it's stop being a compliment at a point. But like, no, but like literally everyone else involved shut it down. Like every time, I'm just like, no, you gotta stop.
Yeah, I'm glad you had some buffers.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that at least.
But so now we are on to the fun stuff. I hope this whole interview has been fun for you. But this is the fun stuff. I make sure to throw just questions we don't get asked enough, like in interviews, but really just as adults. So first thing I ask it of everyone, what is your comfort food, comfort music, comfort movie?
So I, as a human being, really like to do new things all of the time and not repeat stuff. So for comfort movies specifically, I would say there is no movie that I go back to and watch repeatedly at this point in my life. I would say maybe there were movies like that. Like my favorite movie is How to Train Your Dragon 2 specifically, but the whole franchise just in general. But I don't watch it over and over anymore because I have a limited time on this earth and I have a lot of things I want to do. So when I'm looking for stuff to watch for comfort, I personally like to watch absolute trash. I like to watch movies that I go into being like, I know there is no quality to this, and I embrace it for everything that it is. So that's something that I do as a comfort activity is garbage movie nights with a friend. Usually we sit and we watch it together and do snacks and beverages and all the good stuff. favorite music. As a person who writes music, I don't listen to music for leisure very often anymore.
Yeah.
Being an artist
That's
is
a
art.
common- that's a
Like you
common
can now you start to analyze things more and not be able to listen without that analysis. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to separate your artistry. And like I listen, I'm like, that's a lot of like emphasis though. And like I wouldn't do that chord there. That little
That's
artistry
like,
things.
that's like I don't watch comedy. I don't watch comedy for enjoyment. I watch bad action movies.
As
That's
you
my
should. But as a genre, I have like my little sad boy playlist on Spotify.
I believe you.
I was into alternative rock for a spell. I was definitely into like Mayday Parade, My Chemical Romance, Panic at the Disco things, and then also some more like soft pop type things, Christina Perri, sad boy music.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't point to a specific song, but definitely I like to listen to sad music. And then comfort food. I'm a vegetarian and I'm very lazy when it comes to food. So I like to do things that are minimal effort. I like to call myself the master of lazy vegetarian cooking. I think that if I could drink milkshakes all the time, that I would. I can't. And thus I don't. But I definitely really like, I grew up on the East Coast, and there is, some people will know what I'm talking about, there is this gas station / convenience store chain called Sheetz. And Sheetz is a construct. It is more than just a brand. You have to understand. Sheetz versus Wawa feud is like a whole other thing. But Sheetz has, whenever I would go to Sheetz in my childhood, they would have this basically instant milkshake station. This brand of milkshakes called For Real. And you could take this pre-mix of milkshake that was in a freezer, lots of flavor choices. I always like to do the limited edition flavors if they have good ones, because again, I'm always trying new things. And I would pop it into the mixer and it would be ready in 2 minutes. I'd have a milkshake for like $3. So like,
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't have them in California.
Oh.
So tragic. But that's my answer. Roundabout way.
Awesome. So you know why I'm asking you this question. They don't, but I'm asking it. What's your favorite cryptid?
The more audio dramas and indie games I get involved with that involve cryptids, the harder it is to answer this question.
Oh yeah, I figured it might be.
And we had such a good conversation about cryptids on Boo-Ha-Ha. And I don't want to
podcast. You should listen to it. Sorry.
Yeah, please plug. I grew up on high fantasy, and so I think I'm definitely attracted to cryptids that are kind of in that crossover of mystical vibes. Water creatures are really neat, and woodland. This is a complete tangent, but yesterday I said, if people lay their shrooms in a circle, does it become a fairy ring? So I have Fae on the brain.
Nice.
But yeah, I grew up really into Fae and dragons, especially. So like high fantasy type things will always be my favorite. Mythical creatures, phoenix. What's the plural of phoenix? Phoenixes?
Phenai.
Phenai.
You know what? I don't know if it is, but I like that. I like that.
Yeah, those kinds of things are my favorite, which may or may not qualify as actual cryptids in any way. Not really.
It's fine. It's an answer. It's I have a new one for you. You might like. So it is the other Scottish lake monster, Morag.
Morag.
It's just like I love how they got like Nessie and then they got like the goth lake monster. Like nobody pays attention to. It's just
I'm
like,
into that.
You hang out with Nessie. I'm gonna be in my lake.
I was gonna be like, yeah, Nessie's pretty cool, but that's a little basic of an answer. But I like this one. I like goth Nessie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ugh. I'm so over this.
For kids.
Book me as your sad teen. Sorry.
Relatable.
So, here's we're gonna have this conversation. Two conversations I told you we were gonna have. What musicals are you currently into, or have been in the past?
As a person who writes musical theater, being an artist ruins art. It's so hard to pick a favorite musical when you have analysis brain. My first favorite musical was actually Wicked. It's not anymore, but that was my first favorite. It was really the first musical that I was truly immersed in and introduced to. It was the first like real professional production I saw on stage, the first cast album that I like really listened to, and it still holds a place in my heart. Alphaba, relatable, attractive, but anyway. Then my next favorite musical was Dear Evan Hansen, and that is an interesting thing to think about with as we're recording this, the recent release of the Dear Evan Hansen movie, which I have seen the reviews, not yet seen the film, but they do not bode well. I do plan to watch it. Dear Evan Hansen spoke to me initially because it really roots its marketing campaign in mental health awareness, which is something I'm personally very passionate about. And I think that what this show does right is its marketing campaign and the way that it fostered a community and really engaged with its following in a way that uplifted people. If you actually like think about the story for too long, it gets very cringy. But I do appreciate the spirit of the movement. And I think there are really, really neat musicals coming out right now. There was 2019, 2020, right around the time that Panini hit, there was a show that was about to get its Broadway run called A Strange Loop that was the Pulitzer winner for music theater that year, which is a Black queer story. It's about a Black queer musical theater writer. And it's got all these meta layers to it. And I think it's a great example of an identity show. Though, of course, I want to reach the place where we're not having to write identity shows to be seen, so that we can have casual representation, dare I dream. But yeah, I think A Strange Loop is really neat. Cool. And my favorite album that I can't say it's my favorite musical because it doesn't have a stage show to go with it. It's a musical exhibition, so it's like musical theater numbers, but there's not really a narrative. Is 35 Millimeters by Ryan Scott Oliver, which I adore. And basically the premise of this album is that all of these songs were inspired by photographs. And so there's this collection of photographs that goes with the album that like inspired all of these very diverse sets of encapsulated stories within songs. And I just think it's neat.
Nice. So this is one of my favorite questions to ask people. What's your favorite color?
I like to answer this question with smaragdine because I'm a little pretentious and I like the fact that it's a big word. Smaragdine is a blue. It's a shade of blue-green, and really, my answer is I love just the variety of colors that exist in the space between blue and green.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all of the teals and the aquamarines and everything in there is my favorite. But Smaragdine's a fun one to say when you're playing a word game and people have to like remember each other's favorite colors.
Nice. Nice. What is your favorite? Listen, people who've seen a few of these episodes, I'm gonna start asking it every time. What's your favorite smell?
Oh, Sammie, my nose doesn't work.
Oh no! Oh my
There's no
god!
way you would know this. It works about 10%, 10 to 15%. So like I can
What's
smell.
your favorite taste? I fixed it.
If I had to pick a favorite smell, it's probably vanilla, though everything has to be so strong for me to notice it. So I really like vanilla when I can smell it.
Oh, I think I did know this. I'm a horrible host.
It's okay, I forgive you. And also, you know that taste is impacted by your ability to smell.
I know it is.
But if you wanted to go with favorite sounds,
yes.
yes, I really like the sound of a cat
Your
purring.
favorite thing that you experience sensory wise. I fixed it.
Mm-hmm. I love cats purring.
It's nice.
It really is.
It's nice. Oh. Well, now that I've ruined the interview.
Sammie, you're valid. It's okay.
Listen. I know you hate me. we only have 2 more things. But so, and this is not an offensive thing to say, because I know they have an answer and I know they're gonna do it. Would you please show the audience your socks?
It would be my pleasure. So today's outfit, and just to be clear, the rule is you have to plan your socks around what you're doing for the day. Like you have to pick socks that are appropriate to the activity. This is a social norm, y'all. I don't know why this isn't like more known, but just I'm here to help you. So today we have word search socks. I know the lighting isn't great, but you can see there are circles around the letters.
Nice.
I'm actually going to back the camera up for you so we can maybe do this a little bit better.
There's a lot of work went into these.
And so they are mismatched in case you didn't see that it's orange, green, and then number 3 is on my arm over here. This is the purple one, because I have some socks that come in sets of 3s. And so I don't want the 3rd sock to be left out. So if it's long enough, I tie it around my arm. It's a little tourniquet thing. And if it's not, then I will pin it to the side of my pants with a safety pin.
That's awesome. And what are these socks in 3s?
This particular pair came from a creator called Little Mismatched. Their audience tends to be a little bit like younger and femme oriented, but I've found some really great socks with them, and like I solved the word search on these socks.
I believe you.
I have socks of all kinds. I also have socks that I colored because Crayola did a series where you could like color your own socks. So like, just putting that out there.
Yeah. I'm a big word game person. I'm trying to think of a word game question to ask you now, but I can't think of it.
I love bananagrams. That's kind of relevant.
Do you know PDQ?
No.
Okay. I feel like you'd like this. It is. It stands for pretty darn quick word game. And it's exactly that. It is. It's like speed words, where you put 3 letters down, and going in either direction. First person who can think of a word with all of those letters in that order gets the cards. And it's my obsession. And like I'm like constantly playing PDQ solitaire. Like I just got back from a plane flight. Like I was just the whole flight just like.
Mm-hmm. That's really neat. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. It's as soon as you said word games, I was like, we need to have a conversation about this 40 minutes in. But we have reached the end. The final thing before we say goodbye forever is for you to plug whatever you want to plug. Tell people where they can find you on the internet or like in person if you're doing in person things.
Wildly enough, yeah, sometimes I am. All vaxxed, all masked projects for the most part right now, but I'm in California. I'm based in the greater Los Angeles area. I do theater out here, voiceover up this ways, on camera every once in a while. And if you want to find my work, I have a website. It is myname.com, sockswhitmore.com. I have all sorts of fun stuff on there. I recommend it. A lot of effort has gone into putting them all in one place. Check out music and voiceover links and everything, reels, all the good stuff. Recent projects, Narwhal and Jelly book number 6 just came out. So if you've got little ones or you just like need some wholesome oceanic energy in your life right now, highly recommend. It's so cute. I work on Georgia Romero's Done For, and our season 2 is getting very close to. We're getting there, y'all. It's gonna drop soon, I promise. So get caught up on season 1 if you haven't already, and check out the sibling podcast, The Softboiled Detective. Oh, I'm doing so many everything. So maybe just follow me on social media at Socks Whitmore, so I can just tell you.
Nice. All right, and Socks's website, Twitter, and Instagram are in the comments. Follow them. Do it. Do it. Socks is so fantastic talking to you. I really enjoyed it. So did the people who watched.
Thank you for having me.
And people, listeners, watchers, viewers. I'm like, what do I do?
Consumers of content.
Podcasts. It's a different mindset. We do this show most weeks. We will have another wonderful guest next week to be determined, but they will be amazing. And if you are looking to support trans people, first you can, if you're able to, you can Venmo We Are Trans. Anything We Are Venmoed goes towards the stuff we do, paying wonderful performers, setting up shows, paying like operational costs, which is really just like a paid Zoom account, but like, hey, it's and in 2 weeks on I was thinking, listen, it's time is an illusion. I'm like, it's September? Yes. Yeah, it's September 25th. We Are Trans is doing it is free, but we will be taking donations. We're doing a benefit show to support Texas abortion funds and mutual aids, and all trans lineup of musicians and comedians and poets, and it'll be a good time. I won't be edit because I double booked myself and will be shooting a project I can't talk about. but it'll be fantastic. And who knows, maybe I'll pop in and be like, hey, how's it going? And that is GIFT. We're calling it GIFT. It's an acronym that I already forgot what the acronym stands for. Gender Inclusive Fundraiser Trans. ... Trans. Christian Lou is a genius.
Yes.
And so I hopefully some of you will be at that. We'll start posting about it soon. And the show is most Saturdays. Today's Saturday at 3. Until I see you at one of those things. Goodbye, everybody.